We turn to President Trump's travel ban. A U.S. district judge ruled that the government must release the names of approved refugees, valid visa holders, and other legal travelers subject to the ban. This, as President Trump says, a revised order is on the way. Watch.
We'll have various things coming out over a period of time, and you'll see them as they come out, and we'll let you know exactly what they are. But we have to let people come in that are going to be positive for our country.
Joining us right now is Fox News senior judicial analyst, Judge Andrew Napolitano. Judge, good to see you.
Good morning.
So the president's going to sign this new version of his executive order on immigration this coming Friday. What are you expecting?
Well, I don't know what he's going to sign. Until last night, we were told that he's going to sign an amendment to the old order, but the language they're using this morning makes it sound like it might be a new one. I have advised, as have most people who look at this from a legal and constitutional point of view, that he literally rip up the old one, rescind it, and sign a new one. That will undermine his political opponents. That will render moot the Ninth Circuit decision, which he finds so offensive, and it'll enable him to start afresh. How should he start afresh? Take all the objections in the 4 opinions, 2 in Seattle, 1 in Alexandria, Virginia, 1 in Brooklyn, where different federal judges have found problems with it, and address those problems as best you can in the executive order so as to make it, lawyers use this phrase all the time, bulletproof,
right,
appeal-proof. It'll never be perfectly appeal-proof, but if you can address the principal objections to it, it'll be a stronger one. So whatever he's going to sign Friday, I think will be the result of that process, whether it's an amendment of the old or a replacement of the old with the new.
Do you think that it will still focus on those 7 countries?
Yes.
That he deems the most dangerous?
Yes. There's an issue with the 7 countries. In my opinion, it shouldn't be an issue. In my opinion, the court should defer to the president's judgment on a matter of immigration and national security. Why do I say that? Because the Constitution gives foreign policy exclusively to the president. He decides who our friends and who our enemies are. But in Seattle, these judges basically said to the Department of Justice lawyers, where did he come up with these 7 countries?
Right.
Now, I don't think he should have to justify that, but he can easily justify that with non-classified information from the CIA, from the Department of Defense, and from Homeland Security. Hey, Mr. President, there are some lone wolves in these countries that are about to enter the United States. Can you stop them for 90 days, and then we can catch these guys? Something like that,
yeah,
in an appropriate submission to a court would be a perfectly valid justification. The other issue is whether or not this is a Muslim ban. As you read it, it is not a Muslim ban. As you analyze what he wants to do, it is not a Muslim ban. But these judges have done something I have never seen before, ever, and that is taken the words of candidate Trump and used them against President Trump. He did say some incendiary things during the campaign, as we all remember. He hasn't repeated those things since he got elected. And they are saying to him, well, you said this in Ohio, and you said this in Texas, and it sounded then like this was going to be a Muslim ban. He has to explain why it is not based on religion.
Based on, and to this point about the argument that it is a Muslim ban, according to at least one draft, there's the expectation that the new order would address that criticism of religious discrimination by eliminating the preferences for religious minorities that was included in the original order. Legally, would that help?
Well, it would, but here's the problem. The courts have imposed what's called a cause and effect, a purpose and effect test. So the purpose of this could be non-religious, but the effect could fall disproportionately on a religion. The problem with doing that is it's only been used by the courts in voting rights, redistricting, and school desegregation. It's never been used against a president of the United States on foreign policy matters. Jimmy Carter banned everybody from Iran for the duration of his presidency after they took the hostages. Barack Obama banned everybody from Iraq for 6 months. Did those bans fall disproportionately on a religious group?
Yeah.
Yes. Were they disrupted by the judiciary because they fell disproportionately on a religious group? No.
Well, meanwhile, we're learning that nearly 1 million people applied to become naturalized citizens during the 2016 fiscal year. People were flocking to the United States before the Obama administration ended. And this is, Judge, the largest number in 9 years, according to government data.
Right.
The president believes cracking down on illegals is in the interest of national security. But how can the president change his ban to get it past Congress?
Well, I don't think the president has to change anything with Congress. The Congress has written the laws that give the president a lot of discretion. The reason they give him discretion is because of this unique position he holds in foreign policy. He has to be able to say, you're our friend today, you're our enemy tomorrow. That's just the way diplomats deal. You may have dealt this way when you were selling all kinds of things. But what Secretary Kelly has done in the past 2 days, former General John Kelly, now the head of the Department of Homeland Security, is basically say we're going to exercise our discretion to enforce the laws on the more serious side rather than on the more lenient side. We're making a significant change from the Obama administration, and we're telling you how we're doing it. In response to that, people who want to become citizens have tried to accelerate the process of becoming citizens. Doesn't change the rules, doesn't make it easier for them to get in. They've just gotten online because they're hoping that by getting online now, they can be scrutinized under the more lenient rules rather than under the newer, stricter
That makes sense.
Yeah. So, Judge, at the rally, President Trump read the law, right? Very clearly,
Yes.
very simply.
That was smart.
It was clear.
And I agree.
Of course,
It's very smart because it's an easy law for anybody to
he
understand.
threw it over his shoulder. So, in your dealings with the administration, who is going to write this new, whether it's a new or an amendment, who's writing it to make it bulletproof? And are you getting a sense that the implementation will be better this time than last time?
Those are great questions. I believe
Probably Stephen Miller.
I believe that this is being drafted by some very bright lawyers in the Justice Department who are aware of the types of intrusions that my former colleagues in the judicial branch are likely to attempt to visit on it. And yes, they will roll it out a little differently. They'll make it very clear. And Stephen Miller, to his credit, has been saying this already.
Yes.
You have dual citizenship, you're not going to be blocked. If you're a green card holder who has the same right of entry and exit as citizens, you're not going to be blocked. And if a visa that's already been granted, we're not going to take it back. The language in the original order was ambiguous on dual citizens, green card holders, and visas already issued.
Yeah.
And there is some reporting that the expectation is there will be a 7 to 14-day rollout period.
Well, the cat's out of the bag on this
right
one.
after Trump signs it, that it wouldn't be.
That will save the nightmare of that Saturday night at JFK and at all the international airports where DHS just got the order. These people just got off of planes. They barely had time to read the order, and they had to begin enforcing it, and they decided not to let anybody in.
So could he have gotten that done better, more organized? Have you had his team in place?
Yes, and why didn't
he didn't have any of his team in place?
And why didn't he have his team in place? Because our friends Chuck Schumer and company had delayed the confirmation
that's
of the
point I'm
Attorney
making.
General.
Yeah,
exactly.
So there really is real obstruction here.
Yes.
I mean, there's
and this time there really is a not rogue but a cooperative Justice Department that will do what the President and the Attorney General want them to do.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, because this is really something else. I want to get your take on this banner reading "Refugees Welcome." It was hung on the Statue of Liberty yesterday. It comes after the Department of Homeland Security unveiled a plan to deport undocumented immigrants. So regulations, Judge, prohibit anything to be fixed on a national monument, like the Statue of Liberty. U.S. National Park Police are investigating the situation. But is this act covered under free speech? I mean,
well, that's a very good question. The rule which prohibits all defacing or covering of a national monument is a neutral rule. That is, it doesn't do it in order to help certain political views or hurt others. It's non-content based. If it were content based, that is, if they permitted Go Trump banners but not refugee welcome banners, there'd be a serious First Amendment problem. But when it's a neutral statement like you can't deface a monument, free speech is out the door, and the government can protect its property. There are other places and times and manners for these opinions to be expressed, even on government property. But defacing something or covering something like a national monument is not one of them.
well, and then there's all this vandalism going on at other monuments.
Yes.
Vandalism is a serious crime, and people should be prosecuted for it. And as you reported earlier, people are being prosecuted today for the vandalism they caused in Washington, D.C. to protest Donald Trump's inauguration a month ago.
All right, we'll leave it there. Judge, great stuff as always.
Pleasure,
Thanks
guys.
so
All
much.
the
Judge
best.
Andrew Napolitano. Coming up, check